episode of the Sports Break here on rvntv.tv. I don't have a guest in the studio with me today. I'm your host, Renee Washington. I'm here to talk about some jaw-dropping, exciting, or not so exciting plays that have happened this past week across all sports. So first, in the WNBA, on Sunday, there was an exciting game one of the finals. And we had the Minnesota Lynx versus the Los Angeles Sparks. Now, this game has historically been a good game between these two teams, and it's game one of the finals, so it's always exciting. In game one, in the final 30 seconds, I think everybody may have been on the edge of their seats, anxiously watching. So we had Maya Moore of the Minnesota Lynx, who rushed down the court, grabs a rebound off a missed free throw, rushes down the court, gets the ball back, makes a layup. The Lynx are up by 1. Then with the final 6 seconds left, the Sparks had a chance to take the lead. So they inbound the ball, and they have MVP players Candace Parker. They have Nneka, let me make sure I say her name right, Ogumike, and they're not the ones that had the ball in their hand. It was Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray, a former Duke player, got the ball, knocks down a jumper, and the Sparks win in a buzzer beater. It was exciting, but you know what? My words can't do it justice. Let's check it out right here.
Seconds left. Gray will heave and hit! Missed them both. Rebound to Minnesota. Down 1, no timeouts. Whalen blasting forward, finds Moore, who lays it in! Minnesota in front. 80. A chance here with game one on the line. Lynx up 1. 5 seconds left. Gray will heave and hit.
Now that was exciting. You can even hear it in the commentator's voice, the excitement. You can see the crowd getting on their feet. That's what sports are all about. But even beyond that, one of the greatest things, and I mentioned how the Sparks have 2 former MVPs, 2 headliners, players that everyone knows, in Candace Parker and in Nneka Ogumike. And those are not the players that had the ball. They trusted Chelsea Gray with the ball in the final seconds. Game one of the finals, when the stage is big, they trusted her with the ball. And after the Minnesota Lynx came back from a 28-2 deficit in the first quarter to come back and have a chance to win off of Maya Moore's basket, you would expect the ball to be in the hands of your 2 top players. But Chelsea Gray had some things to say about what Candace Parker told her, and this is just heartwarming. So we're going to take a look at the interview from after the game from Chelsea Gray.
Of her career, how many of you had in yours?
I think that tops it right there in the finals, Holly. So if I could do it again, keep it coming.
Well, Chelsea, what did Coach Agler drop in the huddle for that final set?
We just ran a line, and Candace had it out. Trust her decision making to get the ball in, getting the ball in, and I just popped out and just went one-on-one. Candace was like, "I have confidence in you," so I needed that, man, and just a team effort tonight, Holly. It's amazing.
Walk me through the highs and lows. What a roller coaster it was, up by 26, and then in the fight for your life.
We can't do that against this team, man. They have some prolific scores, and I just think we got away from what we were successful at, and they were trying to put us on our heels and getting us in transition, knocking down shots, and we just have to combat that with our poise and our aggressiveness, and I think that's what we did down the stretch.
Last year in game one, it was a game winner, Elena Baird. It was her first of her career. How many of you had in yours?
I think that tops it right there in the finals, Holly. So if I could do it again, keep it coming.
What an exciting time for the Sparks. And that's what it's all about. A top player having confidence in their teammate to step up and win the game for the team. And another bright aspect of this game is the fact that it was one of the most watched game ones. Well, it was the top game one for the WNBA, and it was a 20% increase in viewers from last year to this year. So Watch Me Work is slowly getting there in the WNBA. We don't get to talk about it enough on the show, but it is exciting to see how everyone around social media is buzzing about what is going on in the WNBA right now. Finally. All right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we have to talk about a play that's not so great. So in the NFL, actually, and if you haven't seen it, it was also a jaw-dropping moment. In the NFL, the Bears played the Steelers on Sunday. And the Steelers had a field goal early in the game. They had a chance to cut the lead. Let's just say the Bears blocked it, which is exciting. That's great. Great defense by their special teams. They get the block. The ball knocks out. And Marcus Cooper Sr. recovers the ball. Rushes down the field. He has clear lane in front of him. He's running in for a touchdown, or so we think. And apparently he got way too excited, started celebrating too early, and decided to slow down because he thought he was clear. There was no one going to catch him. Did not hear the footsteps of the Steelers players behind him and actually had the ball knocked out of his hands. So what could have been a great play by special teams to go from block to get a touchdown, they ended up having to, fortunately they got the ball back, and they ended up having to kick for a field goal. So Marcus Cooper Sr. had everyone kind of doing one of these, and one of these. That just, I mean, for the 27-year-old former, sadly, Rutgers University player, I hate to say he played in New Jersey in college, that's a moment that, as a 5-year player, you don't expect that. That's showboating, you're getting carried away. You run it across the line, and then you celebrate. He was on the 1-yard line when the ball got knocked out of his hands. At that point, take that one extra step with some speed, get the touchdown, and then you can celebrate however you want. But to start slowing down, thinking that no one's going to catch you, and then have the ball knocked out when everyone's watching, and not to mention you're on the Bears. This is not a top team. The Bears have historically been one of the worst teams in the NFL. So for you guys, as players on the Bears, I hate to say it, you got to get what you can get. And if you have a chance to score, you need to go on and score. And it was not a close game at the time. I mean, Chicago was up 14-7 in the final seconds of the second quarter. It was early. This is not a blowout, and it's the fourth quarter and final seconds. There was still a lot of football to be played. Fortunately, the Bears did win the game, thank goodness for Marcus Cooper Sr., but unfortunately, everyone saw that play and will not forget that play. So, we need to take a quick look at it, of course.
Anything this year. That one's blocked. The Bears have it. The Bears are going to get a touchdown out of this. Now they're ruling. Let's see what they rule in the end zone. There's a penalty marker down.
I think that ball was knocked out before he crossed the goal line. It looked, at least from here, way back at midfield where we're sitting in the booth, he relaxed too much before he crossed the goal line.
He did slow down, did he not?
And it wasn't signaled a touchdown. Nobody on the field signaled it a touchdown. So they can call it an illegal bat out of the back of the end zone, as one of the Steelers players batted it out of the end zone. So.
Yikes. That's all I can say. And they replayed it in slow motion. They replayed it all zoomed in and other videos. And as you saw there, Marcus Cooper Sr. had a chance to be a hero and ended up being a zero. But I think it's definitely a teachable moment, a learning lesson for anybody that saw that play, for all sports, to go ahead and get the points and then celebrate. And especially, like I said, you play for the Bears, act like you've scored before, cross that line, and then you celebrate. So we had Chelsea Gray, who was a hero, buzzer beater to help the Sparks win, and then we had Marcus Cooper Sr., who unfortunately was not a hero, but like I said, the Bears did at least win the game 23-17 over the Steelers and beat Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we are going to go to a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk about some other memorable moments from this past week of sports. We'll be right back.
Here at Freppi's Tex-Mex, you can definitely taste the freshness in our food. You should definitely come to Freppi's because it's a great place. You can bring your family, very kid-friendly. All my servers are amazing, friendly people. Everyone here is just happy to serve, and I think it shows. The thing that sets us apart is the quality and freshness of our food. And I think once you try it, you'd be coming back. I'm Joe DeSario, co-owner of Freppi's Tex-Mex in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Here, we have an attractive orange and a distinguished apple. The two similar, but opposites. Theory, a wingman is needed, or perhaps a wing lemon. A friend to the orange and an acquaintance to the apple, the lemon brings the two opposites together. See, with a little fresh thinking, the universe can be surprisingly smooth.
here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and we have been talking about memorable moments across all sports so far. We talked about Chelsea Gray's buzzer beater to help the LA Sparks knock off the Minnesota Lynx in Game 1 of the finals. And then we talked about a not-so-great moment in Marcus Cooper Sr.'s what should have been a touchdown, but the ball being knocked out of his hands on the 1-yard line in the Bears game versus the Steelers this past Sunday. Now, we also had an exciting moment. That play started off with a field goal that was blocked. We also had a field goal that went in. And I'm a huge Eagles fan, so I could E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles, of course. And so anyone that was watching on Sunday, you saw rookie Jake Elliott, who stepped up and made a huge play. 61-yard field goal to help the Eagles defeat their rival, the New York Giants. Round of applause for the Eagles. But it was very exciting for many reasons beyond the fact that they just won that game. Before we get into that, we do have to take a look at it. This was a phenomenal field goal, historical, and you have to see it yourself in case you missed it. Check it out.
Jake Elliott. Is it good? It's good! Philadelphia wins it!
Still gives me chills when I look at it. Now, this is exciting for many reasons. One, the Eagles won the game 27-24, and this field goal went in as time was expiring. It was the buzzer beater of the game. And also because the rookie, Jake Elliott, stepped in for the Eagles' main kicker, and that's Caleb Sturgis, who's out with a hip flexor tear. So the Eagles were scrambling, and I actually remember thinking, who's going to kick for them now? The Eagles were scrambling to find a kicker, and 2 weeks ago they signed Elliott. He has had a missed field goal last week against Kansas City. He had a missed field goal earlier this game, and then he knocks down the 61-yard field goal. And if you got to see it like I did, I watched it over and over and over again. The ball actually dropped right in the post. It just made it. A couple yards back, it probably would not have made it, but it was the longest field goal in Philadelphia history that happened in the Link. And it was set by a rookie, Jake Elliott. So that's what I like to say. Making the most of your minutes. He had the chance to step up, be a hero or a zero. If he had missed, everybody would have said, oh, he's a rookie, you know, he's not the main kicker, Sturgis is the main kicker. Oh, well. And he would have just kind of been written off. But he might have just made his career by making that field goal. And I have a feeling that we're going to see Jake Elliott a lot more after that kick. So we do now have to transition into someone that I don't want to say he's a zero because this is a great player and I've really enjoyed watching him, and that's Seattle Seahawks Richard Sherman. And I don't think this game really makes him a zero, but I do think these plays are head-scratching, very questionable, and not truly professional. So Richard Sherman in the Seahawks game against the Titans this past weekend had some controversial, chaotic plays. First, earlier in the game in the first quarter, he had in one play received 3 penalties. 3 flags were thrown because of something he did. Holding, pass interference, and then unsportsmanlike conduct. And his face has been, I've seen memes all over the place already. In fact, within like minutes of this play, from him reacting, like yelling at the referees, face huge, and you can see it here on your screen, arms out, and then he got another flag for unsportsmanlike conduct. So you saw the referee throwing flags. The referee threw his hat because he didn't have enough flags to throw anymore. And we thought that was maybe it for Richard Sherman, but it wasn't. Later in the game, in the half actually, Marcus Mariota, the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, has the ball. He's running down the sideline, and he's running out of bounds because most quarterbacks, when they know they're about to get hit, they either slide or they run out of bounds. And as he is stepping out of bounds, I think his feet were crossing that white line to step out of bounds. Here comes Richard Sherman and tackles him, lays him out, and everyone was in uproar. You don't hit quarterbacks like that. And of course, we're going to take a look at it. So check out this clip before I give too much away and spoil it, because you may not have seen it. Check out this clip of Richard Sherman laying out Marcus Mariota.
This is way late. Mariota getting to the sideline, and he's into the white. when Sherman launches and hits him, so it's a good call.
All right, I hope you were paying attention. Now, if you see that, it's hard to tell because Marcus Mariota is crossing the out-of-bounds line as Richard Sherman hits him. It's not like he's already out of bounds when he gets hit. But people are saying he was out of bounds or he was going out of bounds. Richard Sherman actually responded saying the world is getting a lot softer. And also that he saw a man running in bounds. The whistle was not blown. At the time that he went to hit him, Mariota was still in bounds, so he's going to make a play. He's not going to let him get those extra yards. So the question is, and I'm not going to answer it, but for you maybe, is do you think, and you can look at it again, do you think that this was him truly trying to make sure that Marcus Mariota was getting out of bounds and didn't get any extra yards, or dirty play? Well, the truth of the matter is, Mariota's teammates, especially his offensive lineman, Taylor Lewin, had something to say about that, got in Sherman's face immediately, defended his quarterback, and there was a little scuffle that happened between the two teams. You know, the Titans, it happened right by the bench. The Titans bench is up. The players start jumping in, and there was a fight that broke out. So this all started because Sherman laid out Marcus Mariota. But I like the fact that his teammates jumped up, both of their teammates jumped up to defend them. But I don't like the fact that we saw Richard Sherman get 3 penalties, then he turned around and had another play that was very questionable, and then he called the world soft. And for anyone that has ever followed Richard Sherman, you know that he's someone that openly speaks out a lot. He's very outspoken, I should say, especially one of the more outspoken players in the NFL. He's said things about NFL salaries needing to increase. He's talked about his own teammates and plays that have happened. He's talked about other teams and their players. And he has also talked about how the league has to take care of their players more and player safety. Yet he turned around and said the world is getting soft and that he wasn't trying to hurt Mariota, but was actually trying to make a big play. So I'm just putting the facts out there. I don't know. I don't have a true opinion either way. I do see both sides of it. He was trying to make sure he was out of bounds and that he wasn't getting extra yards. But on the other hand, you don't hit a quarterback like that. If that's Carson Wentz getting hit, I'm probably standing up yelling at the TV screen, personally. So I don't know. It's up to you to decide what you think really happened there. And, of course, as of now, we haven't heard anything for Richard Sherman getting any type of fine or anything. But all in all, for Richard Sherman, the all-pro cornerback, to have a string of emotional plays early in the game like that is just unprofessional. It's not a good characteristic of a team's leader. And a player like him with the reputation that he has as such a great player, to see those uncharacteristic moments. I don't know. But we do have to take a quick break because we have more plays to talk about. We can't talk about Richard Sherman the entire time. When we get back from this break, we're going to talk about a couple more memorable moments from this weekend. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Love my style, I'm dancing tonight. My smile from pearly white side. Love myself, love myself, love my style. Pearly white, love your smiles. From teens to grown-ups faces, they can change your life. All ages and all faces, your smile from pearly white. Love yourself, love your style. Pearly white, love your smile.
Where bankers have lost all interest. Where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes. One woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. Already in a neighborhood near you.
Assurance.
Welcome back to the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and we are going through some memorable, jaw-dropping, shaking your head moments that have happened across sports this past week, and especially this past weekend. So we talked about Chelsea Gray hitting a buzzer beater to help the Sparks win. We talked about Marcus Cooper Sr., who had a chance to score and had the ball knocked out of his hands on the 1-yard line because he was celebrating too soon. Richard Sherman and his unprofessional plays that he had in the Seahawks game. And then we also talked about, we also talked about some other great things that have happened. Now, we have to get into baseball. And if you haven't been paying attention, there is a rookie that has been doing a tremendous job around the league. And that is Aaron Judge. The New York Yankees rookie Aaron Judge broke Mark McGuinness's record for the most home runs in a season. Now, Judge is only 25 years old. And we have heard, at least I have been paying attention, Home Run Derby, he won that. He's already been someone that's a candidate for the AL MVP award. He also leads the league in runs scored, walks, and strikeouts, which is okay though, because if you're getting as many home runs as he is, that happens. And this past weekend, he did win or pass for the most home runs ever hit in a single season by a rookie. And the great thing is, the season's not even over yet. Aaron Judge has a chance to continue to add to that number, and we're going to get a chance to check out the play when he hit that 50th home run. Check it out.
Deep to left field, going back Cabrera, looking up, see ya, he's done it, home run number 50. No rookie has ever hit 50 home runs in a season till Aaron Judge right now.
Now, this is great for a few reasons. Now, this was against the Kansas City Royals. He had 2 home runs, one to tie the record, one to beat the record. And the thing that makes it so amazing is, if you watch the clip very carefully, and even hearing the interviews after the game, Aaron Judge and his teammates talk about how once he got to the dugout ran the bases after his homer, gets to the dugout, and his teammates actually had to tell him to go out. The fans were giving him a standing ovation. They were clapping for him. Everyone was cheering, and he went to the dugout and was, I'm done. Did my part. I'm gonna sit down now. His teammates said, no, go on out. Do a wave, do something for the fans. And then that's when at the end of the clip we see him going back out of the dugout to wave to everyone. So to me, that's a very humble moment. He easily could have ran around the bases and celebrated and did something crazy, and as he got back, did a dance or, again, something crazy, and celebrating, which is rightfully earned because he did just beat the single-season record for home runs. But he didn't do that. He ran the bases, got to the dugout, slapped his teammates' hands, and that was it. That's a very humble moment for a rookie. And to be such a great rookie, especially having so many home runs and seeing the way he reacted to that, that's what I thought was also so great about this entire moment from this weekend. So we do have to switch gears back to football. We already talked about the Eagles with Jake Elliott's field goal. We already talked about the Bears and the Steelers. But we're going to talk about the Anthem protests. And if you haven't been paying attention, our president, some people's president, Donald Trump, this past week said in a press conference, he was talking about, let me get the exact quote so I don't say this wrong. He actually said, let me clear my throat here. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a B, I don't like to curse, son of a B, off the field? Wouldn't you like to see one of those NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a B off the field right now, out? Interesting. So, players have been openly giving their feedback about how they feel about this. I won't go into opinions. We're going to keep it to the players. And we saw a lot of national anthem protests this past Sunday and even Monday, with players locking arms. We saw players kneeling. We saw some players and teams that did not even come out of the locker room. As a team, they decided to stay in the tunnel. They decided to stay in the locker room, and that they weren't even going to come out until after the national anthem was played. And we even saw national anthem singers. So the one, Megan Lindsay from The Voice, and I don't know if you've seen her. In fact, this was at the Seahawks game versus the Tennessee Titans. As she was singing the national anthem, she took a knee. Another national anthem, Rico Lavelle, who now is trending and everyone knows him, he also took a knee as he was singing. And these are now people, it's grown beyond just one or two players. It is whole teams that are doing this, national anthem singers. We also saw in other sports where teams are staying in. The LA Sparks, who we talked about earlier in the show, with Chelsea Gray hitting the buzzer beater, they stayed in the locker room during the national anthem for their Game 1 final. We saw other sports. In baseball, we had the very first baseball player that took a knee. It was Oakland A's catcher Bruce Maxwell. He became the first Major League Baseball player to take a knee. So it's now grown beyond the NFL. And in the NBA, you've been hearing LeBron James. Steph Curry has openly spoken out about not even wanting to go to the White House with the Golden State Warriors because they won the championship. And that is something that sports teams do. When they win, they go to the White House. They're invited to go, and he said he wasn't going to go. And then Donald Trump turned around and removed the invitation. But that is what it is. The invitation wasn't there because the Warriors weren't going to go. So players have been openly speaking out on the national anthem protest and against what Donald Trump said. And then we even saw Odell Beckham Jr. against the Eagles, and we talked about that with Jake Elliott's phenomenal field goal. And he had a celebration like a dog. He actually got down on all fours and did the little pretend fire hydrant leg lift. And he said, "I'm a dog, so I'm going to act like a dog." And that was directed at Donald Trump's comments because he is apparently one of the people included as a son of a bee. So across the NFL, we have been seeing protests. Across leagues and other genders and other sports, we're starting to see protests. And one of the things that was kind of an intriguing story to me was a story that I found on a Steelers player. So again, we talked about the Steelers already, and we talked about their loss to theirs. But Alejandro Villanueva, one of the Steelers players, stood alone during the national anthem. He actually was out of the tunnel, visible with his hand on his heart, and he says that he's someone that has served 3 tours in Afghanistan. Let's preface this with that. So the national anthem means a lot to him. But he also said he didn't realize he was visible. He wasn't trying to stand away from his teammates. He was simply trying to still support the national anthem, but in his opinion, he thought he was still in the tunnel. His jersey is now the #1 selling jersey on NFL Shop. His t-shirt jersey is also the #1 selling shirt across the NFL online shop. So that's pretty interesting to me. He's the player that is now being known for standing away from his team, even though he says he did not mean to. He was trying to still support his team and the national anthem. Thought he was hidden, but he wasn't. But he's now the highest selling jersey and t-shirt across the NFL online shop. Interesting. Very interesting. Someone that, it's not Aaron Rodgers, it's not Carson Wentz we're talking about, it's not Derek Carr, not a big name player, he is not a household name, but he is now his shirt is being purchased all over the country. Interesting. But unfortunately, we are out of time. We have talked about a lot of different things. Of course, we have to talk about the NFL because we're in the midst of Week 3 chaos and excitement and wins and even games that happened last night and Thursday Night Football coming up. And I had to mention the Eagles with Jake Elliott. Plus, there are some exciting things going on in the WNBA that you can continue to check out. They actually have Game 2 of the Sparks versus Minnesota Lynx tonight, Tuesday, September 26th. And then, of course, baseball is gearing up towards the postseason. So this Thursday, we will be talking about NBA news, which is why I tried to keep all NBA news out of this episode. Jonathan Stroud and I will be back here on Thursday talking about NBA news, and on Friday, we'll have a guest in studio. So, of course, you should tune in right here on RBNTV.tv every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 a.m. I'm your host, Renee Washington. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Happy birthday to my younger brother, and we'll see you on Thursday.